hope you guys had a great weekend. It is December 3rd. We are moseying on our way into December, the end of the year wrap up, where we look forward to be what we call potentially Santa Claus rally within this next few weeks. We'll see. We're going to get in the charts to see if that could be true. Well, based on the news and what we see, what is actually going to manifest based on what we see on the chart. So before we get into all of that, again, welcome to Sunday School Charting. And let's start with mindset. And from there, we'll go into some news. And if anybody wants to share anything interesting over the weekend, then we can do that. I may have to close my window because these blue herons are, can y'all hear these blue herons? You shouldn't with this new mic that I have, but you never know. Let me know if you can hear birds cawing in the background. Just double checking on that. All right. Okay. All right, let's get this mindset started. Today is December 3rd. So in our Daily Laws book by Robert Greene, we are looking at December 3rd date. And it says to turn and face your mortality. So this whole month's overall theme is like acknowledging the fact that we're too separated from death, which I agree. Even with our food, right? I would tell people that the main thing that I tell people to help them transition to a more vegetable, I'm not trying to make everybody all 100% plant-based, but more vegetable is saying things like, well, would you eat meat, breakfast, lunch, and dinner if you had to slaughter it yourself for every meal, every day of the week? Because somebody got to kill that. Somebody got to kill that animal for you to eat it. And so this is why I now go to the slaughterhouse to pick up my meat. If I do pick up meat and I don't pick it up for my consumption, I pick it up for my daughter's. And she can't stand going to the slaughterhouse because she's like, Mommy, it's so gross. It smells. But this is what it is. This is a reality. And you need to turn and face your mortality and understand that death is a part of life and there is not one without the other, kind of like a yin yang symbol. So today, the Daily Law states, by becoming deeply aware of our mortality, we intensify our experience of every aspect of life. Meditate on our common mortality, the law of death denial. It's like I said, we're so far removed. We don't hunt anymore. We don't see death every day. Like when we go to the marketplace, like the meat is all pretty packaged in there when we should actually see like a live little slaughter butcher right there. That's what it really should be. But I digress, and not everybody may agree, but that's just reality, and we close it behind behind brick walls and keep a secret and whatever. Anyway, I digress. But with that, you can kind of turn into yourself and understand and heal and accept others for who they are better with accepting this aspect of reality. So I'll let you all sit on that. And now we will go over to look at our week of news, anything that came out for the weekend to also help us prepare for the week. So let's go into that. All righty. So I will pull over, start here. All righty, Forex Factory. So today is December 3rd, Sunday. Tomorrow is Monday, December 4th, and we have no US. I'm only focused on the US dollar here. I don't really care about any other currency pair. I do trade Forex sometimes, but not often enough for me to worry about the other currency pairs just yet. I just kind of based off the chart. If the Forex chart has a great move, like a great long candle I could run up, then I just take that and kind of be done with it. I don't worry about the little ebbs and flows as much as I do the stock market here in the US. And that's what I like to focus on. So December 5th is Tuesday, and that is when we'll have our first red folder this week. So it'll be Tuesday, and that is when we will meet again. it'll be Tuesday, December 5th. Okay. So everybody is going to be out on their own. Of course, you'll have your Telegram support. But we will, you know, probably have just like a cool liquidity move. Like I actually feel like tomorrow may move on us. And then Tuesday we have the ISM services PMI and Joel's job opening while we follow up with Wednesday, another red folder, ADP non-farm employment change. And then Thursday, we have another pre-market news folder. So Wednesday and Thursday are both pre-market, while Tuesday is once the market opens. All right, make note of that. Thursday pre-market 8:30 we have unemployment claims, and then Friday pre-market we have unemployment rate, non-farm employment change, and average hourly change. And I think this will be a hot day, especially because the following week and I can drop it down for you guys just so you can take an overview from my screen. Wednesday, December 13th is the day that we are having the FMOC press conference, and they're going to state the new Fed's fund rate, and we are going to have a joyful, eventful week into next week. So I do think a lot of these folders this week will be good preliminary data that we need in order to give us the good telltale signs of what next week is going to give us, and we can prepare our positions accordingly. We all know that there can be a little bit of hesitation, pause. I don't know what it's going to do, and the chart want to try to trick us up. But if we come down to the smaller time frames, for those of you who were here with us on Friday, which we beautifully saw, how the chart does give you a nice cue setup before it takes off in our direction. And sometimes it doesn't. I ain't gonna lie, sometimes it does not. But as you start to learn the chart patterns, it becomes clear of what it is trying to tell you, and usually there's a sign there. So we're going to be looking at the buildup of that sign all within this week, going into next week, because we know this news will have people in their thoughts, and then those thoughts will come reactions, and then we'll see the chart do things and such. So following the end of that week, into the Christmas, that will be the Christmas rally. I think we'll end it probably December 15th, now entering, into the week leading up to Christmas. We'll see how I expect things to kind of simmer, but we'll see what exactly happens. You never know. You never know what the future holds. So you never know what other news and earnings and things like blah, 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 all of that stuff come into play. And let's go end of 2023. All right. It's December. Yay, y'all. We enter a new year soon. 2024. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I hope you guys had a great year. All right, so moving over into CNBC News, just to get a kind of a peep of what may have happened on the weekend, anything. So on the weekend, we're looking, is anything interesting worth it, or are they just putting just random news out to be putting random news out? Alaska Airlines agrees to buy Hawaiian Airlines in $1.9 billion deal. Okay, for those of you who like to trade in the airline industry, Boeing, things like that, this may be a good sign for that particular industry. But overall, okay, yay, we're excited. So, in general, there's a little bit of sarcasm there. So we're not overly worried about it. Our banner here at the top is, how the S&P rises on Friday to close at a 2023 high. We really did rack up there a bit. Um, and it was a fun Friday, I would say. Definitely by noon, I was pretty much out on my trades. I'll get back into I'll go back over Friday, a recap of Friday in a couple minutes. Let me get through this news. Stay focused. Okay. So moving on to Benzinga, again, an Alaskan Air. That's the highlight of the weekend. Great. Yay. So focus on that if you like to trade the airlines. But other than that, we're just kind of chilling and seeing what overall next week will come into. Will be exciting to see. All right. Anything else that I may have missed? And this is just going off like the headlines that you see here, like on today, right? Like now. Like this is not pulling Saturday. So if I miss anything, because sometimes I can, because Saturdays I really do like turn off everything. So if you have anything that you would like to share, please let me know. And we'll go from there. any other news that I may have missed, anything important that y'all want to share for some of y'all. That's my break. So I get back into my week starts on Sundays. Okay, that's when my work week starts. I hope it's probably similar for most of you, saying that most of us are full-time traders. Or we're trying to pursue full-time traders. Tax credit, okay, that just means I need to get another EV soon, you know. So it'd be random stuff. All right, cool. I don't see anything. Y'all didn't jump off mic. I don't see any hands raised. Going once, going twice. All right, let's recap. Let's recap Friday. Woo woo. Friday was exciting. Friday was fun. Friday, I was on the phone with homegirl trading sister Maria, and we was chatting it up while we was watching our profits just go to just and orders just chinging us out just because now the dings don't sound like the ding. You remember when we first started trying it? For those of you, actually, it should be probably the same for everybody. When you first start trying, you hear that like alert that like, I'm in the trade. And it feels so like, oh my God. And then
And
and
your
you're
heart
like, what is
dropped.
going? It's so real, right? It's like, oh, this is so nerve-wracking. I'm trading the market live. And then, and then and now, or say we're at a point where like that same ding that was so petrifying and scary has now turned into when we're already in the trade. Because when we're in, we're like, we don't care anymore. So we don't care when it goes in, but to hear it when it goes out, like your take profit cha-ching is like, it's a cha-ching. It's no longer a dong, like that dong, like, oh, it's like a cha-ching, cha-ching. I know y'all can resonate with me on that. It was a great Friday overall. That was a feeling that I was exuberating on Friday. So let's take a look at what happened. All right. And why it happened. All right. So we can understand why we were all holding bullish for those of us who were like, okay, we hear y'all, but we're not really sure. But why like the extra conviction was built up in there. Okay. So a few things just from the daily. Now normally I would love this pen to be like the straight breakout, and it kind of is, but it did one of those funkified moves. Okay, it did funky chicken, did breakdown, did one of those new dances that come out and you like, oh, where they learn that from? It did one of those. Okay, so it's like, but it still is what it is, which is um large doji, right? Consolidation, and then the breakout. The breakout started to happen over 2 days. Why are we having this breakout? Why are we having this pull up? Well, our pull down, our decision. So let's just backtrack a little bit. Let's give a little history. All right. And see these patterns so you guys can really understand these patterns. We can get these questions answered if you have any. So we have this large V dip. This is not really, if you want to stretch it down and be like, oh, it's like a W. I don't really care. It's on a daily, so it's such a larger time frame. So, okay, we're gonna take it just this greater dip to the bounce back up. That's all we care about right now. The whole point is when it reached the first neckline, it made a decision to continue back up. We recognize that it was may do that and was able to catch the bottom of it based on it not breaking out below a certain level and not clearing a lower fair value gap that we see clearly on a daily. We're not going to any other time frame, just a daily to keep it simple, straight to the point. Boom. All right. For swing traders, because we know swing trading has the best profits. All right. Let's just be real. Okay, let's be real. So, all right. So we were recognizing that, okay, it's coming in here, it's retracing a bit. We just came up to a peak, it's going to pull back, but we never broke down past and close or anything below this fair value gap. All right, so we're holding this level of support. We know that from 1, 2, 3, 4 candles. All right, and based on the intraday data in these candles, we should be able to have chart patterns that we can identify that are going to further confirm this. All right. Finally, we have the breakout. Just from this pattern here, we have the breakout to the upside. All right. We break out to the upside. We reach the top of this candle. We're not sure. We do a little doji move, but it's a weak one. So we continue up because we have all this momentum candle. So we pretty much knew price was going to continue up. So most of us took full advantage of this run. It was a great day in Haven, right? Lovely, lovely trade all the way back up. Even if you were late to the game, you still had a profitable trading day. We came up into our next area of chop, our next order block. Block is block, chop. Chop equals order block, block. That's what I want to say. Chop. Oh, that can rhyme. I got to write these things down, y'all. Chop equals order block. Y'all like that one? That one works. Chop equals order. We're going to break it down elementary style because we all know if we can get it to rhyme for the kids, it'll stick for us. Easy. Okay? Okay. Chop equals order block. All right. So we come up into the order block and we're making a decision. We're trying to figure out what we start to see our pullbacks. We start to see our exhaustion candles. Pullback, exhaustion, something similar. I'll come up with a rhyme for that later. Just give me some time. And then we recognize that we're not breaking past a certain level on the downside. We're holding it. Okay, we made new support. We're making new support. Okay. So now that we broke up, this should have been your confirmation candle here that we really don't have enough room to run down unless we clear this new smaller order block. Chop equals order block. This is a small level of chop, so it equals order block. So once we broke out of that and we should have recognized, okay, we definitely have support. Even if you don't have a chart right on none of these, all these other lines that I have in here from last week that I'm holding true, we're going to come in here and pick some other levels. But you got this block here. We broke out. We're at another level of chop, right? We start chopping up again. As soon as we break out, we chop up again, but we don't fall back below or into the order block on a daily level. I told y'all this Friday, told y'all this Thursday, when we were intraday trading, right? I was like, well, it doesn't look like it's breaking down on a 2 hour and then break the level on 2 hours. So I suggest you hold your horses a little bit. And even if it starts to run down, you need to make sure it holds down, because if it doesn't hold down, then it may just leave a wick down and come back up and it's surprising. You'd be like, I canceled my trade for no reason. I hope all y'all caught that mouthful. Boom. But that's what be going through your mind. Okay, so you gotta like wait for it, because like, for instance, this daily candle right here, this large wick dipping past this level, watching it real time, you're gonna go, oh my God, it's breaking past. Oh my God, it's gonna reverse. Oh my God. If you were holding bullish, right? And you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna get out of my trade. And then it's like, but if you zoom out, it's just barely past it. Did price level really hold below the level of support? No. So you hold your position. I feel like there's nothing else to say. Like, it really just comes down to if it's there and you see it or you not see it. Like, there's nothing else there. You can put lines here, but the whole point is it didn't come back all the way in. This would have been the best line, stop loss. Like this wick, how that broke out, right? And this daily wick right here, boom, perfect. Because price would have never touched there and you'd have been good. But holding on to a position like that and taking that much stop loss depending on your account, that's hard. But that's safe based on the patterns. And you would have had to like further dissect the intraday to see that. But anyway, we decided to break up and out. We see that we have a daily fair value gap now, which is why price is most likely holding this support, because we have this magnet sitting over here called a daily fair value gap, right? And we wicked in it already way back when, and it said, nah, I'm going to take care of you later. And it came back way later. Why? Because it's a daily. It's on a daily chart. But now we have a little more confluence that this is now activated and being pulled. All right, so this fair value gap activated, boom, trigger. So we're being pulled into it. So we wick back into it on Friday. So now what are we going to do? Because we still have room to clear it. Now, we didn't come past this wick that was already originally put. So we need to be careful how we want to take this. We can have multiple day candles here that does some pullbacks and things like that. It does not have to be a straight run up. So you need to practice a little bit of patience here, because we are running up into another level of chop, which means we're going to have some exhaustion candles. Okay, because it's chop, there's another order block. And when we first get to the top of the order block, which is going to be clearing out this fair value gap, we're definitely going to have some pullback before taking this physical gap that's up here in the futures, which we can all see that starts at 46.39. And there's a physical gap on the futures. It's a daily gap, and it's going to have a bit of pullback unless we have some crazy back-to-back news, but usually never comes out that way because the universe just don't work that way, right? You got to have some yin and yang to it. So we never want to assume that, oh, it's going to have to do. No, unless it's something real crazy and that means the universe is still at play. That means we're time and alignment for something bigger. But until that time comes, all we're going to do is wait for it and watch the build up and play it accordingly. Take one level at a time, one order block. And when we start making all-time highs, we'll be right there because we would have watched the build up and we would have saw it, we would have took it and would have been fine. Until we're going to do the same thing. This chart's going to do the same thing. On every breakout, it's the same thing. It pulls back a little bit, it thinks about it, and it says yes. Or it says no. Think about it. I got to the fence. Am I going to go over the fence or am I going to turn back around? I don't know. Depends on the day. Depends on the weather. That's trading. Depending on the weather, I'm going to jump the fence. Depending on the season, I'm going to turn around. I got analogies for days. But I hope that makes sense. All right, so let's take a look at the weekly, because the weekly, we had a weekly fair value gap up here, which was activated and price was being pulled towards it. And with that, price went right through it and cleared to the other side of it. And that's exactly where I took profit on Friday, and it worked out perfectly because as you can see, price wicked just on top over it. So I had a level marked at here, right? I had, for those of you who remember, this is what my chart looked like last week. Squaring off this weekly fair value gap. It was solid lines, but we'll move these around first for purposes of today. So this is my weekly fair value gap, right? That was like price gonna come through, and with the strength of how it's being pulled, I was like, it probably may just hit the other side. It hit the other side. That's all I needed because it only went a couple dollars for. But shout out to Tanza for anybody who remembers and recalls her. She said 46.10. She was like, yeah, but I think it'd probably be like 46.08. And when I saw her do that, I was like, this chick right here, like, called it on the money. Like, it's gonna be 46.08. Like, you couldn't get any closer to 46.70, 46.07, 46.08. So come on, Tanzan, sprinkle some of that over on the rest of the crib. Because that was amazing. I don't know if y'all remember that, but she called that to the T. Okay. Ooh, but that all comes from reading the candlesticks. She was reading the candlesticks back there. She was understanding. She broke it down too. She was like, well, based on what it looks like, it's probably going to be like a 46.10, 46.08, 46.10. Boom. I just wanted to clear the top of the 40. So I was right. She was right. All right. Either way, you play the fair value gap to make it simple. You don't have to think about it. It's a fair value gap. Boom. You got to come in a smaller time frames and look at that data in the back if you're going to try to squeeze more money out like Tanza. We're talking about $3 difference, y'all. $3. How much does $3 mean to you? Check your greed. Check your greed. Check your personality. All right. Both ways are right. You got to figure out where you sit based on what your conviction is. That's two different convictions. Again, I'm always showing that right before your eyes. Good job, Tansi. I'm seeing y'all comments and chat. That was pretty dope. That was a great Friday, and I am so sorry for it not recording. Like, y'all know I record every call, so when I looked, I was like, "Where's my recording?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "This was the perfect call." I was like, "We all caught the trade at the perfect moment in the perfect W in the perfect run up in the perfect fair value gap click." It was like, wow. And it was one of those moments that, like, you had to be there to experience because it didn't get caught on camera. Which actually probably adds value. So all y'all talk about it because it was amazing, amazing trading day. Okay. So I talk about how we all made money together because we was just everything just went boom. All right. We had a rare folder too. It was a great day. Okay, so that was Friday, y'all. Okay. So now that we're here, where are we going next? So we have cleared this fair value gap. All right. We have the rest of this candle. What I have liked us to like wick up further, because I'm gonna leave my 2 hour fair value, my 2 hour gap opens. I'll show you where I found them at if you don't already have them on your chart. But where after this part that we're up here, we're just shy of like the arch, right? We're just shy based on the wick. So we really may get like a pullback candle, and it's gonna be, you're not gonna know if we're gonna continue up or not. It's gonna depend on that continuation, on that indecision candle, if where it wicks up to in this level. That's gonna let me know if we're gonna continue up or not. That's the signal. The signals are in the wicks, man. The signals are in the wicks. Oh my god, like the signals in the wicks. This is crazy. All right, because I'm getting giddy over it. The signals in the gaps in the wicks. Come on, Tansel with gap magic and Randy with the wick magic. Y'all, I'm a clown. All right. So let's take this vibe and ride with it, okay? So because it worked out, didn't it work out? Did it not work out on Friday? That every time price ran up and left a wick, that in a fair value gap that wasn't closed and it retraced something crazy, price came right back up. Like the whole day. And then it went into the order block, wick back down, but it was in the order block. I was like, oh, well, you're gonna come back up. Like, it just kept doing it. It was a beautiful day. It was a beautiful run up. Beautiful. So that's the cue. Now, when you don't have a red folder, when you don't have some of these other confluences at play, that's what can make it happen slower. And that's where your patience is going to get tested. All right. And even with a red folder today, depending on what it is, like a FOMC press conference, the indecision can be grueling. So you have to like, and you really are like indecision. Usually those days, it's funny how those days fall in alignment with the chart of being like, you really don't know. It left a little bit of hint in both ways, but there's usually some tail we can find. But sometimes there isn't. Sometimes we just gotta like, either we're gonna say we're gonna wait for the breakout, trade conservatively and play it safe that way, or we're gonna go in aggressively and trade both sides with straddles because we know we'll cover the other side and not lose. Right. So you just gotta make a conscious trader decision on how you want to play days like that. Right. But that's the cue we're looking for. We're looking for, if we get a wick up here into this weekly like order block zone, we get that, good. We can even trade into that wick depending on how fast it moves. Right. Because we are into this daily wick, back into it again. And we have this 2 hour gap open. So let me show you where I found this at. So if we come all the way back on future, all the way, keep coming. I'm zooming in now. And it is formed from the Wednesday, August 2nd, 8 a.m. candle and the 10 a.m. candle, right? And there's like a physical gap in here before you hit into this run up area, larger bacon candle, right? And then order block, it's a wonky order block, but it's still an order block. And then entering the daily gap, right, which you can clearly see on the 2 hour. There's another smaller, not, I won't say completely smaller, but you can see exactly where the candles are a little bit better on the 2 hour, but that physical gap as well. So I do believe that this small physical gap has been activated and price is going to get pulled through there. So it's about where it stops once it goes through. It's a very small gap. It's only about $1, not even. And so you're going to kind of shoot through here potentially. Now, are you going to stop here? My first guess would be, based on where this candle, where my gap candle is, the candle right before the gap candle. One more time for the people in the back. Candle right before the gap candle. If I were to mark a line based on where the body of that candle stops, especially since it doesn't have any wick, right? And change it to a dashed line, just make it a little softer on our eyes. We're at 46.17, right? We can predict that potentially price will wick up to there and then pull back, right? Come over the gap, wick up to there, and then come back before wicking any further into it. If it does that, that would be a good sign that price could go up. If it wicks anything over, if it does something crazy, we'll talk about that. But if it does just a little bit over, we're still in a good confluence. I think price will go up. If it does something crazy, like run up or down, run up, like you have some crazy move overnight, because like London market or the Nikkei or something like that, it runs crazy overnight, you can definitely expect we're probably gonna run down in the morning. It's just because it's too much movement. That's just the way it goes. It's just if that happens, then you should just know, okay, too much run up in the morning. If you're not gonna trade overnight, because I usually trade those overnight. But if you're not gonna trade those overnight and you're the type, okay, I'm gonna wake up in the morning at 8 a.m. or whatever, and I'm gonna start planning my futures trade for the morning based on what I see at 8 a.m. And then by 8 a.m. move, you got 8:30 news or 8:15 news or something like that. And the price like runs up something starting to form like a W something. So because usually if there's 8:30 news, that pattern, that buildup is gonna start to be there. So you're checking your 15-minute, you're checking your 2 hour, you're starting to see it. All right. And if it's already run up some and still looking like it's going to run up more, right? You can guarantee by 9:30, because you gotta remember it's 8:30, so you got a whole hour for it to do this thing. So by 8:30, it can have run up so far that it comes down. Now, there are days that it run up and stay up, but you have to, again, you should know that you're going to have some type of other news behind it or something like that, or you'll feel it. Plus we'll be in here talking about it, and I'm gonna be catching that move, so don't stress, don't worry, but you'll start to get the flow of what I mean by all of that. So that's the move I'm kind of looking for. I'm definitely expecting to run up. And if you want to, which I would definitely advise. So I'm not really worried about where it wicks too much. I'm just worrying about it coming up over the gap. Um, because that can be a little subjective. I'm more worried about once it gets into this candle, once it gets into this large baking candle, the top body of it, because that's before it enters the daily gap. And that may be saying that there is some distance between there of about like $7, right? We could get some exhaustion right in between there. So if I were to take my first level of profit in order to stay green, just not showing how far the pullback was, and if I was nervous, right, I will be looking to take profit first at 46.31 if we gap up over here. That's if we gap up over 46.14. We first need to come up to 46.14. So my first take profit, the very first will be actually 46.14, with the next 46.31, and then 46.39, within maybe, if you have the capital, another long-term runner that can sit through the chop and the pullback before it comes into this gap, which I have no idea what it's going to look like. It's a daily gap. So just be aware of how much that is, be aware of that. But that's one way you can like bust out one level at a time, because from where price action is currently, we don't know where it's going to gap up to this more in another 25 minutes. We don't know exactly where it's going to run up to, but let's just say, for instance, based on where it is now to here, that's a good $9 run up. Everybody likes a good $9 on futures. Great. We take it through the gap, $11. Perfect. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, because I actually believe it's such a small gap. It'll come through here. So boom, target 1, take profit. All right. Once I take profit here, wait for the pullback, see what the candles look like. If I have a continuation or a pullback, whatever it may be, if it's a pullback, then I'll be looking for something like a W or something to like let me know that you're like forming the buildup to come back up with a vengeance, and then I can get in at the low and get right back in again, play the same level again for another longer trade. Or if it's a continuation pattern here, then I'm looking to get back in immediately to ride it up, okay, into this and hold through whatever it's going to do, because it is a 2-hour candle. So give it some time and a little patience to run up the additional 16 handles or $16. So you earn up $16, and then boom, take profit here for 631. There you definitely pause. You figure out what's going on. If it's continuing to roll up, now you're looking for a short squeeze. So you either going, based on the news and things like that, we're either going to figure out if we can hold it through this $8 and take it in one sweep, or if it's best to get out because it's going to do a major pullback and then get back in somewhere, I don't know, in this level right? It just depends on how the chart's forming, if it's trying to come up and then come back up for it. There's multiple ways to like play and pause, okay? Especially if you're being like more of a day trader. So that's what I would say to that. And I hope you guys can all see that move and why I'm pushing more to the upside still, but I'm holding based on where we are Friday. So coming back out to the daily, we just came back into it. So that's what I'm just kind of got to get a feel. But the reason why I'm holding more bullish because we just broke out of the order block. We just broke out. So I do think we need in the fair value gap right here. So we just broke out. We should have a continuation run up to most likely the gap, the full the purple line, the 46.39 to that gap. So for my swing traders who got the capital and ready to make that money, this is the longer strategy move that we're looking to play. And we want to position ourselves now, if we didn't already on Friday, for that continuation up. We know it may do some stuff, but we have to trust that, okay, you're trying to come back in here, really in here. We have to like look at that. So tonight's going to give us some signals and signs. And I won't worry about like jumping in tonight, not aggressively, but even if we wanted to run this with SPY calls and things like that, we'll know by tomorrow morning exactly how we can finesse this. And then we'll come back on Tuesday together and see what happens and see what else will continue. But that's the move I'm looking for because we had just broken out. So I feel like we just gotta take this out right quick before we turn around, come down, do whatever. Anybody has any other theories? I am more than welcome and open to hearing them when it comes to our future analysis. And I know it kind of went in this morning. I mean, this morning. I'm so used to our morning calls, y'all, this afternoon. That we just want to hear what you guys got to say. We usually come up with the same conclusions based on these candlestick patterns, but that's how I'm reading. I don't want to overmark my chart. I think I have enough in here based on these gaps. This is an order block, so I know I need to turn around before I can even worry about any of these gap levels. These are just levels I would take profit when price came down because of the gap and where it would bounce and blah, 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 blah. That part. But other than that, I'm not really concerned about this lower level, the level of support, saying that we just broke out a level of support or an order block. All right. All right. So, I will start with the other tickers. If you guys have nothing else to do with, I'll look at SPY. We'll match up the same move. As I do that, I'll go into Apple. I'll go into Adobe. We'll look at what the NASDAQ and the Dow did as well. And then you guys can come in with your tickers. Like, I don't have to look at NVIDIA, Amazon, unless you guys want to. So I'll do just kind of like my top half here and open the floor up to any other tickers so you guys can start dropping them in the chat so we can get as much done before the future does come on, so we can go back and analyze kind of what's happening depending on where it opens. It could be some exciting opening. We may be able to, get a gap trade down, quickly scalp for shits and giggles for those of you who are in that type of thing. So let me know. But here we go. So let's go SPY. So SPY has this. Let me come out to the weekly. All right. Let me take out this red line. Okay. Let me take this out. That was an opening close. We'll leave this was that daily. We'll leave that. Okay. So this is a weekly time frame, and I'll label this line, but we have a weekly gap here. That's the biggest thing I want to point out. And we're pushing right back up to it again. So we had the gap happen back in January of 2022. Okay, January 2022. And we revisited that gap on March of 2022. All right, and we wicked in it. Again, you can treat these gaps like the daycare theory. Gotta come back and get these kids. And it's weeks now, so it's not really. So in this case, it's not Daycare is summer camp, right? Because they go to summer camp for weeks at a time. So summer camp. All right, y'all like that. Okay, so we gotta come back and get the kids from summer camp on the weekly and at some point. So we wicked it, we came down, we came, vigorously down. We said we're not dealing with it, we're doing different things, blah, 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 blah. And now that we're coming back up to it, now we can activate that theory. Okay, we have some wicks, we may have some confluence to help us pull into this gap and close it with a candle body. And so we came back close to it, but just barely missed it. And now we came back a little closer. So I do feel like it may be time. Usually SPY is one of my third times a charm type tickers. So it's like a 1, 2, 3, third time's a charm. You're going to go through it. Usually follows that notion. All right. So I think we got good on SPY. And then the thing is, we do have another physical gap right here. Now it has wicks, 2 wicks going through it, but it is there. All right, it is there. And that's what we're doing. Okay. So it could wick through there again or body through there and take that whole little abandoned baby doji out. But level 1 will be 462. So that's what I'm shooting for. 462 if it's coming to close this weekly gap. And if we come to the daily, and that lines up with that long candle on futures, right? That long candle on futures. So we have this order block from the daily, right? That it's just breaking out of. So we wick just higher than its previous high. So that's what we want to see when we want a continuation to the upside. That's exactly what we want to see. The wicks are the signals. So we got a nice breakout. We got a nice level of support. We got everything that looks, if you guys remember, that looks like the futures. All right. And then as we come back on the daily, this weekly gap is also kind of inside. Now I know there's just peak here and that may make things a little sticky trying to get up here, but that's because we already visited in here and we didn't make it through. So we have room left and we'll see if this becomes how much of a factor this becomes. We have FOMC, so we could just blow right through it. And it won't matter. And we'll come up and close the rest of this liquidity here because we have the physical gap that the candle body already put through it, but we do have this like larger like run up. And again, it is a weekly gap. So we have this larger momentum candles coming up as well, all the way up, which again looks like futures. So hopefully that works for you guys. It works for me. I'm good with it. So I'm staying bullish as we enter into this week. Moving on to Apple. I'm still holding some Apple calls as well. This is a very ugly flag, but I do think it has a very similar setup. All right, we want to play the strategy here. We want to play a strategy. We don't want to play to win. We want to play a strategy. We want to look for the best strategy and play that. So we got a nice long candle running up here. We have a wick that's already through it, in that daily, came back, revisited. We could come back up sooner than later on this one, which would be nice and dandy for me and my call. And that's how I read the chart. So that's why I'm in a call. So I'm holding. My call expires December 24th. Adobe is a rebel. So Adobe doesn't look quite like it will come out to the weekly. We got to come all the way back here, but here we go. We do have a run up here. We did actually, let's clear Adobe. All right. So Adobe so what I like to do in this case, so come out to the wick, if I have a naked chart, this is a perfect example. Naked chart, because none of my lines are really lining up and it doesn't seem like it's a continuation of what I've already charted so far. So clear the chart. All right. Now the clear chart, the first thing that I see when I zoom out on my weekly, because I want to start with a top-down analysis, always started from the weekly on down, is the monthly, because we just closed a month. So let's actually go out and look at Adobe from a month. I totally forgot it's the beginning of the month. We was just going off. But look at that. That looks beautiful for some additional run up. So there's the monthly fair value gap. Same theory applies, y'all, to every single time frame. and it's doing a nice cradle, did a nice dip, and is continuing up on Adobe. So voila, Adobe. Adobe has some room left to clear this fair value gap. The room left is about 25 handle. Who wants it? I hope everybody says me. Okay. Uh, so that looks real nice and real promising, y'all. And y'all know it. We'll come down to the weekly. Let's make this a solid line here. Actually, for my monthly. All right, level support. So 634. So we can that's the weekly monthly, excuse me. I don't have monthlies often. That's why I'm always only do it once a month. Monthly fair value gap close. All right, is what I want to do there. And then that's the close of it because we're already in it. So, and then I want to, when I see a situation like this where I can literally already see that this wick is into this order block, right? I want to see exactly where it's at. So I go ahead and put a line at the top of the wick. I see where it lines up into this candle. If it's about halfway in and in the candle before it, it's already in it as well. Like it's in the chop, it's in the block, it's in the order block, right? Then, right, it's in it, just like the fair value gap kit. All right, we're in it. We should be coming up to at least, let me take off the block, zoom into this candle. Y'all already know, y'all should already know the top of my candle right here, the top of the breakout. Because if you look at this block, I'll put it back on for you guys. If you look at this block, okay, this long candle is our breakout. And to the top of the candle is always a nice take profit, easy peasy, 652. All right. So if we bet that it's going to come up, not just to close the monthly fair value gap, but then we buy enough time to ride it $40 to the top of the candle body that we know it's in. What about that trade with Adobe? I wish I could see Esther's face right now. That one was a good one, I ain't gonna lie. We're gonna talk about Adobe. I'm gonna put Adobe on the list. That's a nice looking little swing trade, I ain't gonna lie. I'll go 2 months out now and just hold it. Because the setup is so there. The setup is so there. The setup is so there. And then and the amount of money left, even though it's not that much of a move, but the setup is just there. So you just take it. You have $20 to $40 on an Adobe run up. How much time? At least 2 months or more. It'll definitely IWT this move. Just because of how Adobe been doing some sticky stuff lately, right? That's been just like, ah. So, but it's in the move. I can't see it not finishing out this move. And you have the support where it's not gonna like fall. Well, it may have a crazy pullback wick day to this level, but we have an order block. And you're in this wick, you're in this body. It's come down to that's the weekly though. So that's what I'm saying. You have to buy some time if you're gonna trust that Adobe's gonna do this. So this is what the daily looks like. It's in the pullback. So it is the time to get in now if you feel like it's gonna do this move up. And then you can also take it one level time. We can easily come in here and do, okay, we at 612, let's just do 628. That's if it even gives it to us tomorrow morning to get in, because Lord have mercy, we know how Adobe can be. But you take it up to 628, boom, get out, get back in. Once it hits this level and you confirm it's going to break out this level, get back in somewhere between 628 to 634 to ride it up to 652. Multiple ways to play. There's too much money in it, so there's multiple ways to play it. I know if you can afford it, I know, but it's so right there. That's such a good weekly. Like the setup for that weekly is just so clear, and it's doing a cool little pullback move too. Look at the 2 hour, and then we got the little W action going on, and it's in the 2 hour, and they got to come up to this block, and then it's just got, oh man, I can see it. It'll come up here, it'll chomp a bit, whatever, whatever, but it can push right through. I could just totally see the drawing happening, and we'll just see if we come down more, we got this level down here, we got this whole gap. So we gotta see. But from the weekly, it looks so juicy and good. I ain't gonna lie, it looks so great. And on the daily, if we squeeze back here into that block, that's another gap. Oh, so okay. So definitely play it to 628 or 634 to the gap. Then the next level to 652 is a gap trade. So we know we're gonna get probably a pullback. So monthly fair value gap close first. Confirmed with a gap. If you hold longer than that, you better have enough time, like 3 months maybe. Just the more time, the better. Debit spread it, for heaven's sake. What about, if you have a margin account, debit spread it, for heaven's sake. We good? Y'all good? Y'all don't see the move? That may not be a bad idea to debit spread it, to be honest with you. So sprinkle a little tans on this one. And just hold it out till it gets there. Just collect profit at the end. Boom. All right. Let's look at YM and NQ, and then we'll move over to Lily and HD Esther. Unless anybody has anything else to say about Adobe. All right, YM did the thing, did the thing, the thing, did the thing, 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 thing. All right, let's come out. Why? Because there's a fair value gap here that has yet to have a candle body through it. And it's just been wicking in there and wicking in there and just poking and just doing all sorts of crazy stuff. So we're going to clear this chart. We're going to come all the way out to the monthly. Ooh, look at that. Okay. That's an exciting little move. I ain't gonna lie. Y'all ain't getting giddy over that. All right. So this is the down futures. Cause it's look like we almost at all-time high time. We just got to get up here and just test up in there a little bit more. We just got to test it. Not there yet, but we're almost. We're building up. This is a great little level. This looks amazing. So I love the way this little block is forming. I love the way the level is plateaued. I love the way it's pushing up, how the candle like closed, so where it's like look like it's gonna do a breakout into this candle where we can finally test the previous all-time high to see how high we can now finally continue on, and what the pullback gonna look like first. Because I know when we touch it, we're gonna get a pullback. I know when we touch it, we're gonna get a pullback. So it's just about how much pullback we're gonna get before we continue back up. So then come down to, there's not really for me to chart here on a monthly. So I'm gonna come down to the weekly. And we have this weekly fair value gap close. So we can go ahead and mark that with a solid line. And we can label it accordingly. All right. Boom. All right. So we got some more run up to do if the chart is trying to put a full body, the body part of the candle through this this can disappear. And because it's on the upside, if it was on the downside, I'd be like, don't bet on it, right? But because usually when it wicks through, it can completely leave it on. But because on the upside, and we know how the economy is structured, we can put a little bit more faith, probably a lot of bit more faith, in the fact that we're gonna rise to the heavens, because that's our goal, right? We will rise to the top, we want to be in the heavens, we want to be with the gods, we want to have power, right? That's mindset. So that's what we're doing. So, like that's what we're doing. So we're gonna probably come up here and close this through and enter into this double top and figure out, we have another fair value out there. It doesn't have any wicks in it, but it'll probably be tested first. But I don't know how yet. So let's just see how it pushes through, see what the news looks like, the federal funds rate and all that stuff. And we can be like, we don't care about the federal funds rate, all those find new type of jobs anyway, like our little group over here. Because what the federal government does not know is there's a group of women called the Traders Cribs sitting back here stealing all of their money from the treasury. And black women, we can have some vengeance, and you don't want women in general, like, right, like right? Like, don't scorn a woman, right? And all of us in here have ironically been scarred by the US government in some way. So they have it coming. So we're going to take it from them. Yay, trader script. That's the mission. Take it from the source and keep it moving. Right? I think we all can agree with that. All right. So I love the way the Dow looks right now. And if I just keep coming down, we could probably find more confluences. That price will come up a bit. So we're going to come down to the daily. Now here we get into some wick. So price close. Okay, so now let's back up. It's a different situation, So we need to mark, because that's so far back and I can't see it all at once, we need to mark where price wicked up to on Friday. We want to mark where price wicked up to on Friday. That's the first thing we want to do in this situation. Why we want to do that is because price is coming into another wick. And when price coming into another wick, it's hard to tell exactly what's in there. We're on a daily, so we got to like figure out what body candles are where when we dissect the wick. So we wicked into the wick, as you can see, because the wick is in here in another wick. All right, so we want to mark that. And then we want to come down to the 2 hour and find where else this line touched. This is what, that's a great run up. That looks like it just is just not done. It just looks like it's not done. It hasn't done enough candles, right? Our candle number is 8, right? Didn't do the wealth 8 number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only did 5, so it's 3 short. So it needs to do at least 3 more candles before it turns around to the upside. That's just, I'm just throwing that out there. We'll see if it actually does that or not. Let's just see. It's exciting. So we're gonna pull the chart back. And we're going to see where our line hit. Boom, shakalaka. Okay, so our line hit right. So this wick that we're going into has a nice little run up into it. All right, so now we need to chart. We need to chart 2 hour lines. So we need dotted lines. And we need to chart it like, you could do a couple things here. You could chart the fair value gap that's there that's clearly not being illuminated. So there's one. Based on where current price is, see where our current price line is. We see where I marked the top where price wicked, because that's where price closed. This is where price wicked to, this is where price closed. And within this pattern, we see there is a fair value gap that's just not showing up. All right, so it's right there. Okay, so this fair value gap is probably pulling price a bit through here, but it is a wick, so let's take its time. So you can either play through the fair value gap and mark lines on this as such and say, okay, well, I know I got a fair value gap. That's going to close at 36.40, 456, and it opens at 36, 368. Or you can do, a different style and looking at the evening star, right? And saying, okay, well, I can put this line up to the evening star neckline and price will come there. And that can be my take profit at 365.20. And then you can even still come in and be like, okay, well, then I can still also take profit at the top of the candle body and the top of the tweezer top at 36,575. Y'all got all that? Revenge of the pink tax. There you go, Esther. Taking money and run. I see it. They be robbing these people, and you know it's coming. Like the black cat itself. In and out. All right. So y'all see all the levels. So, and then you would just label them accordingly. So we can do 2 hour fair value gap open. Two-hour fair value gap close. Whoop. I don't know what you want to label this line. 2 hour. This is on from a 2 hour time frame. So 2 hour evening star, right? So it's like that, what I'm trying to say. The breakout neckline of the evening star, and then 2 hour candle body, sure. Weekly fair value gap close. That's your move to the upside. Boom, 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 boom. How you gonna play it? You gonna get in 4 times, small two and four smaller trades, and leave one runner at a time, trailing stop, or are you going to get out, get back in, get out, get back in, or are you gonna like the? I don't. How you play it is your choice, long as you see the move. And that's what makes trading. That's why the psychology is so hard because you can go, oh, I should have played it 1, 2, 3, and then you go, oh no, I should have played it just one get out and then do the and then not do a transfer. Oh, I should. That that's usually what is making you give money back to the market. It's not like you didn't read the chart right. It's the fact that you didn't know how you wanted to play what you saw, and you couldn't decide because you couldn't trust yourself enough to believe that it was going to do one or the other. So you mixed a bunch of strategies. You just need to pick one strategy and just go with it because they all work. It's just about your discipline and staying in it. They all work. I'm telling. When I tell you they all work, they all work because I've done all of them. I've done all of them, and I've gotten out too soon because I've been on that. Oh, I gotta get out, and then it's like I could have just did this, and then I've done all of it. So they all work. You just need to stick to one. So, Randy, what would you do? Okay, I would wait till the price enters the fair value gap, and I'll probably ride it all the way up to the top of the candle, 2 hour body close, and be done with it in one trade, however long it takes. There you go. That's my 2 cents. Okay. All right. Close out the weekly fair, and I'll get out before because I don't think this weekly fair value, it could be sticky, but I will be reading the candles and the levels and the strength, the momentum of the market and the news to let me know if I could in fact hold to the weekly fair value gap close, which I usually can do, but I'm gonna be watching it. Let's put it that way. I'm just gonna be watching it. All right. All right, so that's the Dow. And then we come to the NASDAQ and the futures is on. So we'll get back to the S&P. But it's not like we can't trade these either. And then we'll get back to, we'll do Lily and HD and then we'll get back to S&P. So here we go. There's my chart. All right. So NASDAQ was struggling on us and struggling now. On the daily. So if we come out to the weekly, we can understand why it is. So it just popped up to this neckline and it's deciding whether it wants to clear out this top or not. And the fair value gap, so let's clear this chart. Again, this is charting. So we're going to chart. So we're going to acknowledge this weekly fair value gap open all the way up here through this little tiny doji wick that I think when price is ready, price gonna blow through here with vengeance. That's what I believe because I don't trust this small candle, because it's too small and puny looking. That's how I see it. I find it puny. You puny savage. You just whatever. I don't know. Just whatever. We're going. I think we're going up. We'll retrace this wick up and we'll like hit the entry of the weekly fair value gap. Okay, so that's what I think. Whoops. That top line, that is top line. Okay. And then we have like this weekly candle body top right here. It hasn't even really hit there yet. So it can even come back and like wick that high. So it's up to you how you will mark that. And this same level can possibly be marked from a candlestick pattern on a daily, but we can do candle body. Okay. All right. And of course, if you want to mark, one of these lower, I'm gonna probably mark one of the lower ones because I know I'll come into the smaller time frame and mark some things up. It's just getting in a good practice of marking stuff because when price do turn around, you don't really want to be scrambling. Uh, That's why I haven't moved my lines on my future chart because I don't want to be scrambling and I already did the work. And so I kind of just want to leave it. But depending on chart, depending on what happened, you have to redo it. So coming down to the daily, we have price pulling back at the moment, but that don't mean nothing right now. Price has wicked through this fair value gap and this gap, but it has yet to put a body through it. So we do have this small gap that's still like it's been wicked through, but we don't have a body through it, right? And then we have the fair value gap that's been holding price up on the daily here. Okay, great. So that's what our daily NASDAQ futures look like. And we're just waiting in this area of chop and order block and figure out which way it wants to break out. We would like to see a solid body candle come through here. So in order to do that, we need the breakout candle to come up through here, close up above here in order to resolve that. We really have no reason to break down to the bottom here. We do, yeah, I see the wick in there. That doesn't mean anything right now. It can come back a lot later. So I'm just wondering like what the holdup is with NASDAQ and what will take the NASDAQ to do its thing and what company in here is going to do it. But it looks like it's just stalling away from move. It doesn't really look like it's falling, it's just stalling. While the Dow is just like, I prefer to be up, and NASDAQ, you just need to get on with the come on so we can just do the damn job. That's what I feel like. NASDAQ holding the Dow back, and then it's holding everybody else back. All right, so Lily, let's take a look at Lily. Let me clear the chart for Lily. All right, monthly view. From the monthly perspective, Lily just look like it's trying to continue all-time highs. I ain't gonna lie. It'll have to break down way below 528 to be a reversal. Yeah. 530. We'll do 530. The only thing I really have to mark at the top is like its upmost wick. Unfortunately, whoops. That's all we can do. Weekly coming down. We're in this area of trading. This trading zone, I guess I would say, the current trading zone, right? And if we come down to the daily, because we really don't have any, that was 2 hour. On a weekly, we have this like weekly fair value gap. We do have a wick in the lower weekly fair value gap. Again, we have nothing at the top. So I don't know what type of strength it needs to really push further up to the upside or retrace down to the downside. It's just kind of a waiting game with Lily. Um, Looking at from the daily, I don't have anything to mark from the weekly. So from the daily, I can come down and I can see we do have a gap lower, but do we want to even break through this consolidation block? This is a block before we can even, this is a block here, right? Before we can even get to 566 gap. Right? So then from the upside, this poor order block just, I mean, fair value gap, that's shown on the chart. I don't even know why it's still shown because it's been beaten up there a little. I understand a little bit of room. It kind of doesn't matter because it's just a little too much going on here. But once it does look like it's trying to pull down a bit, I would give it that. But I can't fully give it until it really breaks back down into this level. And it really needs to come down into here. It really needs to, let me put a line. Let's get rid of this. It needs to surpass 578.66. And like hold before price is gonna like come down. And even then, you have a small room because it'll come down and clear only the bottom of this candle, come right back up on your ass. But that's at least $8 if you wanted it. Just being real, because it's a gap. And you don't have to do nothing you don't want to do, but continue to try to go up if it wants to go up. So I don't know, Esther, if you had anything else you were looking at with it, but I just don't. I think it can come down to 570 at the max, and then I will hold until I know what's up with you, Lily. What's
Yeah, I
up with you,
agree.
pharmaceutical companies?
Right. Well, and bear in mind, then we have New Year's and we have New Year's resolutions, and everybody's going to want to get skinny, and rich people are going to be able to afford these drugs. So that's what everybody wants for Christmas is a GLP-1 drug. So we will find out. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it looks like it's floated, it's consolidating and might sweep down for liquidity and take out. If we could take out some of that fair value gap, that would be awesome. Because
Yeah,
Lilly options at 570 something are a hell of a lot cheaper than they are at 602. So
cool, cool. That will be my play. Definitely down first and
yeah.
then wait because they
Well, or
may
yeah,
come
or I
back
just
up.
because when Lily turns around though, it takes no prisoners. So
Right.
I
That's what
mean,
I'm saying.
personally, I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's
let it fall.
right.
I'll wait. I'll just wait.
Right.
It's okay. Because when it turns around, look
Exactly.
out. Yeah, look out. So, but thank you.
Exactly. No problem. And then HD. All right. What else? Weekly fair value gap close. I don't know what this was. Like this 2 hour C daily. Okay, that was that gap. Okay, it came up and cleared that. Oh, HD moved on Friday, huh? Who was in this? Anybody?
I
Esther?
was in this. Yeah, it was awesome. I got out and
Yeah.
with live money, I got out Thursday close of the like 5 of 4. I got filled because I was like, you know what? I don't know what tomorrow's gonna bring. I have to work, I can't watch it. And so I was happy. I made a little money. That was great. And then Friday did a thing. I kept my contracts live in Sim. My 3 little contracts in Sim made almost $1,100 in a day and a
Yeah.
half because it did the thing, right? It ran for we called it. Said it was going to run for the 320, and it did.
Mhm.
It really did. So though, if you look at it on a bigger time frame, even a weekly or monthly, there's room to run. I'm very
Yeah, it's still
excited about
some.
Home Depot. Yeah.
Because
And
they're
the
just
options are
one
not
weekly fair value
expensive.
gap.
So
They're not. They're so you have weekly fair value gap
mhm.
here. Hold on.
Yeah.
And then you have another one right behind it. And usually those come right through.
Hmm.
Like it'll pop, you know what I'm saying? It'll just come right
Hmm.
through. And then yeah, so did you decide to reposition
No, of
Friday
course
after?
not. No, of
Okay.
course not. But it's okay. I can wait. Because it might
You
cool. It
can.
might cool a little bit here and
You're
figure
right,
out because
because let me tell you, since you weren't here, I'm telling you, Jasenia,
I know I'm
we
so
were
sad I
all
missed
looking at this.
Friday. I'm so sad.
We Friday. Look, let me tell you what happened. And I'll go back to the futures chart and see it. So I would definitely play bullish still on HD. It's just right
Okay.
there. There's nothing
Hmm.
else to say.
Awesome.
But let me show you
Thank you.
what happened on, yeah, no problem, on Friday. So we were all looking at, y'all, where did we get in this move at? It was a 15-minute price was like doing the damn thing. Okay, so okay, you see this okay, so we have the dip here. It was 8 o'clock. This is 10 o'clock. So we all were looking to enter like right here. And on the 15-minute, oh yeah, that's where we got in. Oh yeah, we killed it Friday. So then you see the W, you see the W on the 15-minute. This happened like this part of the W. All right, so just make it clear for people. This part of the W was 10 a.m., right? And at the 10 a.m., because we had 10 a.m. news, we had 10 a.m. red folder. So the market did this wick. You see that wick? That's at the break, like right at that W, that blue wick. Okay. It did that, and I was already in. I had got in between like 9:45 and 10 o'clock because once I saw this, I was like, oh, it's probably gonna go up. And I knew we had all the liquidity up at the top. So I was like, it's probably gonna go up, and this is probably signal to do it. So when it popped, for a second, we all thought Jacinia might have missed it or anybody might have missed the move. And I was like, but this is why you wait, because it popped up, but then it came down. And then as you see, it retraced down further with a full another 15-minute solid candle. So you even had another 10, 15. You still weren't in a trade. It never broke below the W it made. 10:30 started to come back up. So you had to like 10, like 11 o'clock to catch this move. You could have came sat at the desk by 11 a.m. and got the same move that I got at 9:45, and we still would have just, because we rolled this whole thing up. Like, this is where I took profit. 46.04 to be exact. And we got in at 45.72. So we did like $32, and we took the whole damn move. Like, it was beautiful. Yeah, we did that, y'all. Congratulations. And congratulations, Jacinia, for catching it on the pullback, because that's what she did. She caught the pullback right here where she got in, and we was good. We was groovy. We was groovy. So yay. So now what we looking at? All right, let's do our quick. What is the future doing now? And what are we playing? All right, so some of y'all could have been more focused. I was going over a few other tickers at 6 o'clock to catch any gap moves, because those moves can be really quick within the first 5 minutes. So you have to really be sitting here to see that price, closed here. Let me put blue lines on. All right. Closed at 4,600 and reopen tonight at 4603. So been a little $3 scalp, which is so small, but that's the move if you're paying attention to it. And now we're overall looking at how far down it wants to come. So we have, I'm coming down on a 2-hour now, because from at this time of night, I only care about the 2-hour. I don't really care about the daily, because it's the next day forming. I know what we closed at on Friday. Like, I know we were closing up, but again, we also know that this candle has to make some wicks, like in both directions. And this candle's going to most likely, again, we just opened. This fair value gap just appeared. So that means if naturally what it's going to try to do is take out as much liquidity as possible as soon as possible, if it can. If it can't, for whatever reason, it'll leave the fair value gap that we can play later. But originally that next candle is going to try to close out liquidity and not leave a fair value gap. So I want the 2-hour to figure out, do I have a pull down, a short move that I can play in the interim if I want to be fanciful like that. I kind of do and don't. I do, but I don't have a 2-hour signal that's letting me know, like, I don't have any kids left for the fair value gap here. So I don't have any confluence that price is going to come down here now. I just don't. Now, could overnight price wicking here and lead the signal for us later? Yes, it can. Right now, I'm expecting price to hold right at the top of it again at 45.93. And if it breaks and enters into my fair value gap, then I'm going to consider what I may do. Again, it has to leave it. So once it does it, I'm expecting to pull back up before coming back down. All right. And where will it pull back up to? I don't know. Maybe to my gap. Maybe, maybe not. This also overnight can do a flag and just sit right loving here all night. So I don't have anything to go for, because I don't have any candlesticks that I can rely on. This area, this lower fair value gap at the 45.65 area, has bodies and wicks in it. So it's definitely probably not coming back there for a while. And so this is the fair value gap I want to focus on, the one That's right here. We could put little green lines on it. All right, 45.92 to 45.73. Fair value gap open. 2-hour fair value gap open to the downside. And my 2-hour fair value gap, I just put a 2 there, but y'all get it. 2-hour. I'll fix it. 2-hour, I'll fix it for tomorrow morning. I mean Tuesday. If we don't have it clear by then, close. Okay. So boom. Okay. So we want to focus on that. And then on the upside, on 2-hour, our physical gap that we already looked at up here. And what I do, Nick, because I do have this wick sticking right in my way, I have gone in and just marked it. Like I got a 2-hour wick just sticking here because price sometimes reacts to them. Sometimes, not all the time. It's up to you. It's not necessary, but it can help when you don't want to keep going back in time trying to understand what price is doing, and you can, you can stay right here on current action so you know how to execute, is what I'm saying. All right, so there you guys have it. All right, this was the weekly, right, fair value gap that we were in. These are my 2 red lines, and I can put them, I can label them back as weekly fair value gap, open and close. Or you can kind of look at it as that this could be another tight area now where order block can form. If you zoom out on this 2-hour pattern, you should be able to see that this area is now could potentially be another order block area to continue up to the upside. So let's see what it does, especially since we just ran up. Tomorrow there's no red folder. Tuesday there is. We need a doji day, whatever. Just saying, y'all know how the market go. So y'all good. I'm good. We're all good. Yeah? Any other questions for tonight? Nope. Sounds good. Going once, going twice. Alrighty, y'all. Peace out. I'll see y'all on Tuesday. Y'all trade safe tomorrow. And don't be shy to ask us any questions in the Telegram chat. Take care. Bye.